In today's meeting, we will have a brief overview in terms of the states of the self, which is more aligned with the tradition of Advaita and self-inquiry. There are many new sub-states which I haven't brought before in the previous satsang, so we'll go in more detail of each of the sub-states of the self. And to assist this process, I will briefly show you one part of cosmology, a chart, a depiction which beautifully graphically shows some of the key stages of the self, of the awakening, the awakened self, the awakened consciousness stages. I posted an article on our website about who was the first Sadguru in the world. I have given a whole satsang for this topic, and this article is a great summary of the very first Sadguru, not only in the world, not only in this universe, actually before creation of any universes. And this Sadguru has the highest interest for the soul liberation. This knowledge is very little known throughout the world because many assume that Shiva was the first Adiyogi or the 7 rishis or many thousands of other gurus who came afterwards. However, the deep true history goes way, way further back, beyond any person was born on this planet, before even this planet existed. So it is a good history lesson that you can read about. So let's dive into today's topic of the states of the self. And if you are familiar with non-duality, Advaita Vedanta, Jnana Yoga, you know that the word self means consciousness, God, realization. It is a very broad word. And today we will discover how truly broad that is and how it is used in so many different respects. So I will share my screen and we will first have a look at graphical cosmology, which very interestingly is made by the Krishna movement. So here we have Earth, planet Earth, which is a middle planet, which is subtle and gross. Below, there are even more grosser places. And above, there are more higher planes, various higher planes of demigods, heavenly places, the 7 sages, the abode of Lord Brahma, the abode of Durga, the highest goddess of this universe from which all other goddesses came to be. And here Lord Shiva as well. And this is one universe. This is our universe among many other material universes. So now we expand, we can see that there are many other material universes. And this is the causal ocean, Karana ocean, where Krishna impregnates these, well, the aspect of Krishna, or with the glance of Mahavishnu, impregnates these universes with life. So this is the aspect of Mahavishnu. Now, beyond all the Brahmandas, the material universes, the lower universes, there is a Brahma Jyoti, the light of the Brahma. And very interestingly, this is where it is clearly stated that jnana yogis attain this state of the self. So this is already a higher state of the self because this is the blissful light of Brahma. Below, each universe has a light of Brahma too. As you know, the self means generally in Hindu tradition, Brahman. That's what they refer to when they say the self. So every universe has a light sustaining it. Every bubble has a light sustaining it. But this light is more supreme because it is the light beyond all Brahmandas. And generally, this is where the awareness is realized because it is beyond all material universes. This is where the Advaita teachers, non-dual teachers, make all the contemplations how awareness is supreme beyond all creation. However, there is a doorway, a secret passage to the higher aspect, which is called Sadashiva, Mount Kailash. And this is the opening to the Par-Brahmanda region of creations of much more purer universes. This is where 700 quadrillion universes are. And in this particular view, tradition, the highest state of Par-Brahmanda is Krishna and Radha in the Golaka Vrindavana. Svarupa Shakti as the highest force of creation. So this very briefly shows that even the Krishna people, tradition, gurus, they all know that there are different states of the self. Jnana yogis apparently know less of it, paradoxically, because they simplify everything so much that there is only the self, and they don't ask anymore which one is that. Which light are we speaking of? So the same way as we go up, we may recognize that there is a self for each of the 700 quadrillion universes. The self is the light, the consciousness, the light beyond. That's what it means, the light beyond creation. But creation is so vast in so many degrees and steps. So you may now start to recognize that a yogi meditating on the light will have little clue on which light he is meditating and what that light or awareness beyond creation, to which degree it is. So therefore, most of the yogis and gurus in the world, they have realized the self as the light of Brahman, of this universe. And they say, well, I am free. I am beyond this universe. This is generally would be considered as a lower state of a guru. The first state of enlightenment, the lower state of a guru. The higher state of a guru is realization or deeper ascension, higher realization of the self beyond all Brahmandas. And that takes more, there's a passage how to go through it and not to get entrapped by the blistering, blissful lights that appear. And especially in the lower Brahmandas, Lord Brahm is a very tricky one. He's a very selfish one. He will say that I am the Lord Brahm. Now you have realized me. Now you're free. There is nothing more. And I am the Lord Brahm. And the yogi will hear this and experience this and hear the words saying, that's it. We have reached the light of the Brahman. Because that Brahman intends to keep everyone there. He has no interest for the souls to leave him. So he will say anything to convince you that you have reached the ultimate state. There's nothing more than that. Therefore, a certain merit is needed for disciples and even for yogis to come in contact with a Sat Guru who can take them beyond, who can take them into Par Brahmanda, where are much less gurus known in the human history and even less into the divine regions. So now we will explore from the very first simplest stages of the self, and we will begin with the most simple thing, to experience your personal self. So the first stage is your personal self, your personality, which also includes your emotional self and your mental self, conscious mind. Very easy to feel your personal self. It's been with you, familiar to you all your life. Now we go deeper to recognize that there is emotional self, there is a conscious mental self, and there is the etheric, energetic, or psychic self, which is receptive to spiritual energies, impressions. So it is etheric, energetic, or psychic self. It is how you recognize energies, spiritual energies, and you have spiritual receptivity. So this constitutes your four lower bodies, the lower aspects of the self, including the very first spiritual, energetic, psychic self, etheric self. So let's get a sense of that. That yes, we are aware of energetic or spiritual receptivity. If we draw our attention to a particular chakra, we may feel its qualities or energies related. Next step is wisdom self, inner wisdom self, or higher self, which has a discriminative, intuitive inner wisdom. It is the one who can make sense out of energies, out of spiritual impressions. It is the higher mind, the higher self, which puts all together the emotional self, the lower mental self, the spiritual energetic impressions. It discriminates them, puts them together, and derives more wise knowledge, understanding of all of it, of spirituality or your experience. So beyond the higher self, beyond the spiritual wisdom self, is what is known as a Christ child. And this is where spiritual values and connection to the spirit is established, and the manifestation may arise through the lower planes. A Christ child or a little baby Buddha self, which already has more connection with the above. It has a connection with the spirit. It has established spiritual values. And it is a vehicle to manifest things below. Above that vehicle of consciousness of the self is the mighty I am presence, or the deep I am. So this is you who is deeply silent, deeply present, and from energetic perspective, it is a glorious I am presence, which is also known as a solar angel. It is a solar body, angelic body. Saint Germain has elaborated extensively about the I am presence in the I am discourses. And in Advaita tradition, it is known as the I am, the beingness, the presence. In a deeper way, it is the silent I am. And from an energetic standpoint, it is the mighty I am present. That deep, silent beingness within you. If I look at the energetic body of I am presence of solar angel, it's very blissful, very bright, very glorious, and could be already easily assumed to be as God, God's self. Now that's where a yogi would already identify that this is my form of God. It is all light, all power, all love, all wisdom. It is ever present. Going upwards, we find the manasic self, which is another aspect of creation through thought. It is a slightly higher aspect. And then right above, there is a Buddhic self, which is a radiation of pure knowledge, love, and light, like a radiant mind. And right above is a transpersonal self or soul. It is the Atma. Again, when one experiences the bliss of your own self, maybe assume that this is the God aspect of you, you as God. But this is your soul and the bliss and love of the soul. Very bright. Going further up, there is a great expansion into the monad, which is a monad self, which encompasses all the souls. Now we could say this is where the universal consciousness is reached, the universal self is experienced. Or it is also can be experienced as a group soul consciousness. Now that's where we already have departed the Pinda planes and the Anda planes. And we become ready to experience our Brahmanda self, which is our cosmic being, or a cosmic soul, which is the higher aspect of the soul in the Brahmanda. And it shines forth again as even larger bliss of being, where once again the cosmos and the universe below of Anda and Pinda is seen more clearly. It is your Brahmanda soul aspect, the cosmic man or cosmic woman. And further above, it is your cosmic avataric self in a communion with God, the creator, or Shiva, or Brahma, or Vishnu. Your avataric self has a clear connection with these higher gods and feels that it is an aspect of Shiva, or Vishnu, or Brahman. And many yogis identify themselves as avatar of Shiva, Brahman, or Vishnu. or goddess Kali most commonly, or Durga, or Radha at this stage. So it is the avataric Brahmanda consciousness self. And one step ahead, it is the God consciousness, God self of the Brahmanda. Once more, it is a higher universal consciousness. And one may feel the light of the whole universe, may feel oneself as Shiva, as Brahman, or as love of Vishnu, or in a communion with Krishna, or in love with the Christ. So this is where the first stages of enlightenment settle in as the light of the whole universe, of the whole cosmos, and the light beyond it. The Brahman self, the God self. It resides in every one of us, for every one of us have these vehicles of consciousness. And this is also equated to the realization of awareness. When one fully transcends all the cosmos, the deep states of I am, those who are very aware, they can even commune and meet with the gods and goddesses, or those who take a direct non-dual path may arrive to the light of awareness. So we may call it the awareness self. It is very easy to experience the light of awareness, but to fully awaken as the light of awareness is a totally different matter. It is very easy to inquire into awareness. Am I aware? Yes. But to actually be awakened as awareness, there is a much bigger path to traverse. And through the secret passage, we may come to the Sada Shiva self and the Param Shiva or Param Brahman, Param Vishnu self, which is a much higher order of gods of the higher universes, 700 quadrillion by count. Blissful heavens, where again we may experience the self as the light for those universes. Even greater, even more blissful, even more radiant and beautiful and loving, without the negative forces, without the negative streams. This is the place of the pure lands of Buddha. It is the place of the pure heavens of Krishna. It is the place of most wondrous creations, splendid beauty, fragrant love permeates all creations. And coming from awareness up to that level of creation is a huge surprise. How did I miss that? How this was not revealed to me when I looked at awareness only? Because there is a secret passageway into the Par Brahmanda. And this is where we encounter the supracosmic self, the supra-beingness self. And again, there is the light for each of those universes. the supra-universal self, and then the supra-universal avatarhood. Once more, one of the prominent gurus was Adi Shankara, and many other traditions, the lineages arise from this plane. And many will identify this stage as divine already and derive their teachings, their initiations, their yogic lineages as divine because these heavens are splendid and blissful. They're endless and infinite. And at the very top is the supreme light of the supreme guru, the supreme Brahman, which is the supreme light for all the 700 quadrillion beautiful universes. And this is your aspect of the self at that level, the Brahman self. It is also the level of the supreme Shakti, the highest of the highest of Shaktis, and the highest of the highest of goddesses. So this is a higher order of avatars and gods and goddesses. And at the very top is the highest God, Brahman, the light for all. And it is important to mention that many traditions already define it as divine because it is splendid, beautiful, loving, blissful, beyond imagination, beyond anything like on earth. And then there is another secret passage into the great void. And beyond that, there is the opening into the true divine self, which envelops the soul. It envelops your soul in such a great extent that the only true infinity, endless bliss and light exists there. And this is the very origin of your soul. This is the birthplace of your soul, the heart of the soul, the seed of your soul, in the divine, in the true Satlok. There is a copy of Satlok in Brahmanda, and there is even a copy of Satlok in the Brahmanda. Highly complex matters, but in the true divine self, all the way up and up and up, is the very origin, seed, and heart of your soul. And this is what the soul is longing for, to return to the truest home. Even after experiencing countless blissful and seemingly divine heavens, the soul will still eventually recognize that the true home must be somewhere even further up. It may take millions and billions of years for the soul to know that, but the home still will call the soul to return. And when the soul returns fully home to the first divine region, the divine self, the presence of the true supreme God, there is no more avatars to identify as such. There is no god or goddess to identify as such. It's beyond all these notions, and a deeper state of godhood goes deeper and deeper into the Godhead, into the deeper infinite bliss, the highest infinite bliss of God, of the most supreme and truly infinite light beyond all creation. On one of those divine paths There is assumption of a mantle of avatar as a God-man. This is where Meher Baba has realized that state of godhood. And this is the highest order of being, of the self. Only very few individuals in the human history have ever reached this stage. There are many who have experienced to some degree or who have opening to it, but to fully return to it, to fully settle into it and establish into this supreme divine abode is extremely rare. It takes a lot of capacity and assistance of the true Sadguru to be able to return to this place. And in the largest sense, at the very top of it all is the one supreme godhood, which encompasses all below. It is all below. Everything is tiny cell. Every universe is a tiny cell of the supreme godhood. Every void, every non-dual contemplation, every belief and disbelief is a tiny cell of this supreme godhood. So now you have a better understanding of what is the self, that there are many degrees to the self, many aspects of the self, and that the non-dual traditions normally extremely simplify everything, especially for Westerners. They say we shouldn't bother them too much. Let's make it simple. Just not this, not that, and find the awareness at the end. But unfortunately, that doesn't take high the being, because even the gurus who teach the teachings of awareness or the self right now in the Western world, they have mere access to Brahmanda to a small degree. So therefore, there is so much more beyond that. But everyone has a role to play and people to help up to those levels, up to those degrees, which of course is a great service. The more help there is, the better.